preparing a kind of a memorial for T-Bird and Hardcore. I think that's going to get pushed till next week. He had some personal issues, was unable to put it together, but he is working on it. And I saw Grimm's amazing post.
Yeah.
I definitely think we can put a little time into like building a memorial for kind of some of our lost friends and do something in the Gotchiverse for these amazing people. I think that'd be really neat. Kind of immortalize everyone on chain.
Yeah. I think the game is uniquely positioned for that in some way, and we could do something tasteful and on chain. That would be really cool. Something that lasts. So, yeah, Grim, shout out for your post. It was very, very well said. And yeah, it's just crazy. Hardcore T-Bird. Man. I did see one question come in right at the tail end from Transistor. What is the progress on GB3D? So we've done quite a few of the passes based on everyone's feedback over the last, I'd say 5-6 weeks. And Eris is continuing to be the lead dev on that and pushed a hot fix this last week. So it should be working on your Brave browsers again. Really, where it's at right now, we're not going to make a big push for anything like Lick Invasion until more of the team resources can return to that. So right now the team's fully focused on getting Gotchi Guardians to market. And so the Realm team is working with the Gotchi Guardians team. I think it's been almost 2 months now where they're really kind of merged into one team. And it speaks to what Dan was saying in terms of just how important this Gotchi Guardians launch is. And it goes both ways. It's important because it is, but it's also because it's so good. Like it deserves the full attention of the dev team right now, just to make sure it gets a successful launch, and no stone is left unturned. So GB3D, kind of, if you guys see issues or anything, call them out. We'll still throw some dev hours at it and hotfix. But right now, for everybody on the team, the focus is let's get a really good, high quality game out to the masses, and let's make sure it launches on the best terms it possibly can. From a dev perspective, from a marketing perspective, the whole team is focused on that right now. Dan, I see you shared Grimm's post. Yeah, really, really appropriate post.
All right, yeah. So let's get into it. Let's do a little DAO business here. Roxana on the mic today.
Mm-hmm.
How's it
GM,
going?
everybody. It's going well. We only have one active proposal right now. It is the AGIP 145, adjusting quorum requirements and increasing voter XP. And I will copy the link over here because it's only 79.6% of quorum met, but there are 9 days to vote, and currently it's 95.1% in favor. This is a subject that has been covered by the past 2 previous DAO calls, and if passed, voting will be more incentivized and more impactful. So get your votes in. It's crucial for our community to fix the quorum requirements and incentivization. So yeah, hopefully it passes. For our discussion slots today, we have about 4 slots. First 2 will be featuring Coder Dan, Hungry Ghosts, a proposal for staking on Geist, and increasing BRS caps and Gotchi rerolls. And then we'll move on. I don't know if Fifu is here, but there's also the DApp new features added by the DAO Part 2 that came up in the forums, and finally the new DAO facilitator role term that I posted the other day, and we will at least touch on all of these topics. So first we can discuss Hungry Ghosts. I knew that Artcore was going to hop on here and be part of the discussion since he contributed a bunch to the forum. But we can start maybe refreshing our memories of, because I know this idea first came out in January. Coder Dan, you want to give us a refresher on this topic?
Yeah. So I know everyone knows we are kind of scratching our brains, want to reintroduce the staking that we previously had with Ghost, especially some form of single staking without directly just having like a vanilla staking program where you lock up Ghost and you get Ghost as interest, because it's just not, even in today's climate, it's still not a very kosher thing to do. So we wanted to gamify the process a little bit and introduce this idea of hungry ghosts, where you would basically compete with other players to increase the belly size of your gotchi, which would then allow you to stake more ghosts, which would then earn you a portion of the rewards pool every 2 weeks. And there were ways that you could increase the belly size. You could also decrease the belly size of your opponents. So there was a little bit of PvP back and forth, which I felt could lead to kind of a bit more competition. And anytime you have competition, you have kind of more interesting outcomes. So I put the initial post, at the beginning of the year. I think mostly got downvoted or didn't really get a positive response from anyone. So kind of put it on the back burner. But it is something I do come back to once in a while and just say, how can we reintroduce a staking program? Maybe this isn't it. Maybe it's we need something else. But I did like the idea of kind of combining staking Ghost with putting it inside of your Aavegotchi. And so Artcore came out with kind of an update, which I'm trying to see if I can just cover the basic diff between his and mine. Maybe the anti-griefing protection. That was one thing, because people didn't want to be griefed by people targeting their gotchis. Something about hiding the top belly sizes, which I don't think that's really possible to do because it is on the blockchain. So I'm not sure if that is something that we could actually do. And I think they suggested increasing the rewards pool from 10K up to 50K, and the pilot duration down from 6 months to 3 months. So yeah, I don't want to go. I mean, we can go into it if there's interest from the community. But if people are still like don't feel that this is a good use of anyone's development time, I'm curious, what the community sentiment on this is right now.
Yeah, obviously we need more opinions. I personally am for it, the gamification of staking. And staking obviously is essential. But yeah, I think it's a really good idea. I like the idea of the earning yield and having as like a gotchi trait and staking it in the gotchis. I do think it's a good idea to increase the what was it? Rewards pool. I think that's a good idea too. I know that Artcore, you came up with a lot of different changes in the post. Did you want to talk a little bit about that? And then I'll follow up with some
Hi
questions.
guys.
Hi, welcome.
Sure. I'm just a bit rushing my mic because seems like Discord is acting funny, and since I can hear everyone, I guess everyone can hear me too. So there is not really much things to say about the thing that I write. I just went through all of the arguments and counters that people said about the proposal that Kodazen originally made. So I follow up on the complaints of PG, Hardcore, Phantasma, and the others who was contributing to the topic, and there was immaterial also saying stuff. So I just combined all of those things that people didn't like or would like to be changed, and I glued them together, tried to make it look a bit more fun, to make it more interactive, and just top it up with my own like ideas on how we could make it more fun. So, and since I didn't see any much of questions or interaction with this post, and just a quoted comment on that a little bit, I think it's too early to discuss that, and I think the community shall go through the topic, read it through, get some ideas, not ideas, complaints, everything. Like, need more data to be put in to talk about anything, because right now it's just an announcement of the someone review needed to be done.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I can't say I fully agree with all the solutions in the first section of your ideas post, because I think a certain amount of using tricks would be healthy for the program, because then it would be like harder to buy your way to the top. And I think that probably like we don't even need to hide what's staked in the belly either. That's
We
just
can.
my opinion. Yeah. So
Mm, mm,
and then also
This
the
was added. Sorry to interrupt you, because I
yeah.
just want to put the thing straight away. It was a complaint from Phantasma, and he's one of our biggest players, so he wouldn't like to see a thing that would grieve his assets, and it's kind of bringing like that separate us. It's bringing more competition, and like we're supposed to be a fun place, a friendly place and stuff, but instead of that, we're just bringing more fights and somebody's else disappointments and upsets. So this is the thing that I put there was just a solution for the guy to be feeling more comfortable with his assets.
Yeah, what disappoints someone helps another and vice versa. There's always going to be people who are going to be disappointed by anything that gets put out and any feature that gets added. And so, it's hard to cater to everybody. So we just have to think about what would
Yeah,
be best
but
overall.
he has a huge share, so it's not just everybody.
Sure, sure. It's always
Oh,
up for consideration. Yeah.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
the
I think sure. I just think that the community should have a look, discuss, and blah blah
Of
blah. So I
course.
just
We
don't think
obviously
that.
need a lot more opinions on the subject. Um
Yeah,
anyway,
let's see.
the capping the yield at 5% instead of 10%, I'm not totally sure about that idea. I think higher yield means higher motivation to participate in the staking game, not just higher competitiveness. It has potential for positive outcomes, so we shouldn't like dull it down in fear of the negative outcomes. I think 10% is like a fine cap, just in my opinion. Um But yeah. And you also said something about a staking cap idea. I'm a little bit confused about it, so I wanted to ask about that. The capping the staking at 1,000 ghost, because I thought that the belly size is different from the staked amount, and only the belly size will earn yield. So why would it matter how much is like actually staked? Is my question.
No,
The
it's
belly
like two
size
different
is,
things. You can.
yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Dan. I just would like to add
Go
my
ahead.
vision. You can stake whatever you want to, just in the normal pool without the gotchi. But if you're going for the 100 ghost program, you require to get a gotchi to increase your yield, and every gotchi will have a cap that your belly can grow up to 1,000, beginning from something, and each like belly increase just topping up on your basic yield if you have it, and then it's increasing your yield. For example, if you're earning 5% without Aavegotchi, without owing the gotchi, then owing gotchis might give you the way to top it to like to increase it to the 10%, just as an example of the numbers.
Queue system is another thing that I think is pretty interesting in that it it helps people prevent sniping. Just thinking about it a little bit, the order in which people enter the queue would also probably be important. I would kind of imagine there would be maybe the last 10 minutes of the round, you cannot, like, it only executes the things that are in the queue. So it would be kind of interesting as people are getting closer to that 10 minutes. I mean, I think people will still be trying to snipe the queue unless you randomize the order of the transactions. Because if you didn't randomize the order, people are just going to try to get in the queue in the order that they want, right up till the the last minute, the last second, the last block.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
So
about the queue system. Like, will the gotchi owners be able to see queued actions performed on their gotchis, like before the queue hits?
I
I
guess it's
imagine there
just
would
up
be
to the entire community to decide, but yeah, then go on.
well, just technically speaking, I mean, I think it's important to couch things in the language of the blockchain. So we can't really hide people's belly size because it's on chain, unless you do a very complicated ZK knowledge, kind of ZK tech, which we're not going to do. And you also, it's kind of difficult to prevent people from sniping if there's a queue, even if there's a queue system, unless things are just randomized, which could be. I mean, we could do that. I guess there'd be a way to randomize the transactions in the queue. But if you're just processing them one by one in the order that they entered the queue, there's still going to be people fighting for that last spot in the queue.
What if the tricks and tricks could be just like blind thing? You just using it without targeting a particular one, and who's get
Yeah,
lucky and who's get unlucky is just receiving this.
I thought, I saw that suggestion. There's a lot of gotchis, so I don't know. And if it's just totally randomized, it kind of dilutes like the point of the thing. Maybe you could choose like 10 potential opponents to target or something,
Hmm.
and then
That
use
could work.
VRF or something. We could use on-chain random. Good use case for VRF. Yeah, if we're trying to prevent griefing, then allowing 10 different gotchis or requiring at least 10 different opponents could be one potential way. I mean, you're still kind of getting griefed, but not as directly.
But look, there is still a vulnerable moment. You say that if we choose from the pool of 10 gotchis, but if instead of gotchis, it's going to be a wallets, like, okay, this gotchi from this wallet, this gotchi from that wallet, and stuff like this. Because if we're just going to choose 10 gotchis, wherever wallet it is, it's just going to be like, I don't know, anyone who's on top. I'm just saying that it's still got a slippery way of reaching the goal of the grief.
Well, no one really gave. They only told me what their feedback was. No one really suggested any other credible ideas. I mean, the suggestion was just get rid of the tricks. And I think if you just get rid of the tricks, it's not really a game. It's just you're just climbing the leaderboard by spending money. So I would love to hear more opinions from people on how we could try and actually have a gamified staking system. But it seemed like that's not what people really wanted.
That's true.
They just want to put their money in and have it print out money for them, passive income. But what I'm saying is I'm not going to build that system. So if we want to actually do something that is that if Pixelcraft is building it, like, we're not going to build just a vanilla staking system where you put in Ghost, lock it up, and you earn Ghost. That's just not on the table. So we're trying to be creative here and give some ideas for how we can kind of spice things up. But yeah, I just mainly got a lot of negative feedback from it, so I didn't really continue pursuing it.
But look, you just got an insight just right here on the call. Randomizing things, it could be a simple solution, but maybe not that simple from the technical side, but still more real than just hiding the belly sizes, as you say.
Well, I just don't know if people even want the tricks. It wasn't really clear that there was a lot of support for any form of like gamification on the negative side. We see plenty of examples in other crypto games where there is a little bit of PvP action. I think it's nothing wrong with a little healthy competition.
Yeah, and if anyone has opinions on this subject, go into the forum post. I'll link it here. We do have to move on to our next topic, unless anyone has any very last minute things to say on the subject. Quick poll on tricks. That's a good idea. You could do a poll real quick, and we'll move on. Just to see like what the general consensus is in the audience right now. And then we can go on to our next topic, increasing BRS caps and gotchi rerolls. And I'll link that Discord link.
Yeah, this is another post, just something I've been thinking about. You know, we do have a big launch on base coming up, and Pixelcraft is ready to heavily promote Gotchi Guardians, but we'd also love to have something for people on base to play with, something new, because as I think we've said multiple times, it's my opinion that it's a pretty uphill battle trying to convince people at this point that it's like a good idea to really heavily get involved in something like rarity farming, because it's like you can kind of look at the treasury and run the math, and I think most people come out being like, I don't know, it's hard to do marketing. So the idea is that, hey, maybe let's like spice it up a bit. Let's play with some new mechanics.
Yeah, and when you say that, Dan, you're just, to be clear, you're talking about like we're going to base, we go in and engage with other communities on Farcast or in their Discords or wherever, and they see Aavegotchi and they look at us. There's really nothing to talk about. If we're talking about an on-chain experience they can do with us, why would they get involved with rarity farming, right? They do the math, and it doesn't make sense to get in as a latecomer. If you've already been in it for multiple seasons, it made sense. So we just need some new mechanics that are friendly to somebody who's never owned an Aavegotchi up to this point. I think that's the key here. So
That's
pretty
not
excited.
not really a problem. The problem is the size of the pool that got left. It did just 2 seasons left, and it's just not gonna be worth it to buy a gotchi that is like, okay, you got a gotchi for even like a floor, and you reroll it
Right.
and got a high BRS, and it might be just not even still be able to pay for itself after 2
Exactly.
seasons. That's the math.
Yeah, exactly. The math doesn't work out. So that's the why. As soon as you look at it, you're like, well, I better like this gotchi for reasons other than what I'm going to make back on rarity farming alone. But yeah, Dan, so setting the stage, I just think that is something we need to address. And what you've got here is pretty interesting.
I mean, maybe it's not the perfect idea. I just think in the spirit of what this project is supposed to be, they're dynamic NFTs. We have a DAO governing the game mechanics of the NFT. I'm trying to think, what was the last time we actually had a vote that really changed the game mechanics of gotchis? It's been a while. Maybe the aging was the last time. It's kind of late for me, so I haven't really thought about it that much, but it seems like it's been a while since we had a substantial change to the way that the game of Aavegotchi was played. And we've funded games, we've funded, we've spent treasury on various things. We've funded Rarity farming seasons, 10 of those already. But we actually haven't really done that much innovation or change on the protocol, on the game itself, of like what it means to have an Aavegotchi. And maybe that's what, I mean, if that's what the DAO, like, if that's what people want, like, no, it's perfect as it is. We're at that point, we're kind of just we're a PFP collection with a DAO treasury that we're spending. We're not really,
Look,
we're not really a DAO
Nofuturistic
governing our
just
own
gave a
game.
genius idea. Nofuturistic just gave a genius idea. It's just gonna be like each mint gonna have its own rarity farming pool. So it's gonna be depends on the people who mint the amount of money they earn. So it sounds so cool to me. No, it's different from rookie season. Rookie season was a united rarity farming pool. So the OGs from H1 still was able to participate on every ongoing rarity farming. And this one sounds like it's gonna be different.
I mean,
yeah,
I think
Sorry.
it could make sense. I just don't think you'll get the votes to do that, right? This is kind of the gridlock of the DAO, is like, what's the incentive for us to move the rarity farming pool to new mints? I don't think anyone holding the top of the leaderboard on the old rarity farming setup is going to go for that.
See,
I
would
could be wrong.
I would advocate for using, because we recently did buy 5 million Ghost, which is not earmarked for anything. Because I've asked about this. Do we have a sell ladder in place for this? Like, what's the DAO's plan? There isn't really any plan. So I think it would be, not using the full pool, but like putting an allocation of that towards like a marketing effort, rewarding people for, like, if we did do like a H3, like a new degen mint, these obviously these H3 would have their own rarity farming pool that we can use those rewards that we just basically bought the 5 million ghosts, so we don't actually have to tap into the previous rarity farming budget, so that OGs aren't hurt. There will be complaints that it's like dilution and stuff like that, but like, we're coming to a new chain, to not market it properly and give some kind of degen mechanics would be a fail, because that's right now the market is so focused on degen behavior, and a mint, I think, will help us like draw more attention. We can have new people coming into the ecosystem and playing around and learning things. I personally would love a base Aavegotchi just to add it to my collection. And then it gives us a way to get revenue for the DAO. So we would be spending some of our ghost on these rewards, but it doesn't have to be the full 5 million. That money's just going to sit there anyway, because we don't have a set plan on a sell ladder or anything. So I think it's worth considering, because it wouldn't really hurt people in the main rarity farming leaderboards. The one caveat, though, would be that if we did do a H3 and there is a new rarity farming, we have to shake up the mechanic 100%, like for this H3 rarity farming, where maybe it's you get the gotchis and your rarity farming ranking depends on you actually playing the games in our ecosystem, not just petting or, having the rarest gotchi or anything like that. You could still, I guess, do BRS stuff, but like way more specific towards like gaming.
Well, I think we're all on the same page then, that there should be something new to do when we move to base, and the current setup just isn't very conducive or exciting to somebody on the outside. So we all agree on that, whether it's a Haunt 3 or Dan, just back to your proposal here before I know you got to wrap up. This is kind of I would say almost like a hybrid version of that, right? Like the re-rolls get you maybe a base,
There wasn't like a lot of appetite for a Haunt 3. I mean, even personally, I don't really want to expand the collection that much in the same way, but I think we can play with some game mechanics, and it's kind of like expanding the collection. What you're going to see is like the spread of all these low BRS gotchis that, a 350 BRS gotchi suddenly is a ticket. You spend a little essence, now you can potentially have a 540 gotchi, or maybe you get a 320 gotchi. What I like about it is that they're in the market, as No Future said, it is quite degen out there. People are looking for lottery tickets these days, that they're not looking for predictable 4%, 5% yield. I mean, there are people that are, but that doesn't seem to be the predominant market out there. And it's not really what we've built here either. So I don't know. I kind of like, I thought the idea of allowing people to re-roll their BRS, like, yeah, it's going to shake things up a lot. People at the top who have like the best wearables and the best gotchis have to start defending that position a little bit more aggressively. I mean, they can also re-roll, and the benefits of re-rolling and increasing their own BRS are also pretty big, because it's like the higher your BRS gets, the more re-rolls it's going to take for someone to get to that position, unless they're just super, super lucky.
Yeah, I don't have any criticisms about this idea. I even like most of the ideas from
I have.
the forums, except the unlimited reroll idea. I think the rerolls should always cost something, and I'm not sure we should be able to reroll eye shape and eye color, since those are supposed to be permanent. But that can be talked about further, because I do like the tiered rolls idea that someone had as well. But
I
yeah, I
think
really
top
like this idea.
BRS holders. I think top BRS holders gonna be super disagree about that, because many of them saying that they are so exhausted and drained and racked and all of that stuff, and now they're gonna be pushed towards more spendings. Spendings for what? For 2 seasons left, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but giving newcomers an easier chance at having a good gotchi could go a long way for this community. As a solution, because I know that some are worried about the dilution of the rarity of certain gotchis by adding more higher BRS gotchis. Maybe a solution could be there could be like a reroll curve where there would be a smaller chance to roll for like extra rare outcomes. But that's just an idea that also could be talked about. If people like that idea, but
The thing is,
yeah.
I don't like what, if you look at it from an outside perspective, what if I buy a gotchi and I get like a 350, what am I using it for? It's like we all have this meme of like the floor gotchi, the 350 BRS. Why do we need such a large spread between the lowest and the highest BRS? What is it actually getting us as a community? Why shouldn't gotchis like be more similar to each other? It actually, from a game developer perspective, it makes things a lot easier, honestly, having gotchis that are like more similar to each other with fewer BRS differences. Just speaking frankly here, I'm sure I'm gonna get people coming with pitchforks for me
That's
saying
true.
I
But I'm just
100%
like,
agree.
No, that's true.
I think it's if we did something like this, floor gotchis suddenly have potential now. You can either roll them up to like a better gotchi, or you can just sacrifice them to get the essence out and then use that essence to re-roll another gotchi that you want to do. So like we're gonna cull quite a few gotchis with this, which I think is probably good for the supply, good for the floor price.
Actually, that's really good idea, and you just said something, and I got enlightened, because if we tending to build the game that's gonna be sort of League of Legends or Dota or whatever, there is a balance, and almost each of the hero is like the same way as the other, but different stats, but not that
Yes.
huge gap, like you say, 350
Dude, it's
top to
so
600.
annoying. It's so annoying having
Yeah,
to
and
try. You can ask Immaterial, or when we were doing Spirit Force Arena, we had to have like 7 different tiers. Like it's kind of a fucking mess.
yeah,
I
yeah,
would love
that's
to
true.
simplify things. Yeah, I think there's other things we could do. Like, I'm also just speaking freely here. Don't come at me saying I'm gonna rug anything, please. But like, why I would love to add more collaterals to the gotchis. We should have like a Brett gotchi and an arrow gotchi. We're not really like tied to the collateral in the gotchi anymore. So why should we even enforce which gotchi when you mint a gotchi? Like, why do we even enforce like what gotchi it is? Why you should just let people choose. Like, if I want to have a Bitcoin gotchi, I pay 10 essence and I change it to a Bitcoin gotchi. If I want to, like, you know, if I want to be a WETH gotchi today, I'm feeling a little emo, I'm going to put on my WETH gotchi.
Fartcoin gotchi.
That's another thing. I'm just like, Fartcoin gotchi. Like, if we're actually going to try to seriously appeal to like the base meme communities and stuff, I could see people like getting interested and be like, hey, what is this little NFT that's got a fart coin on it, or like a Brett gotchi or something like that. That could be kind of cool. But with our current model right now, just the fact of the gotchi ownership, like we don't have either of those. We don't have a way to pull your gotchi up, and we don't have a way to really customize it. So those are just kind of two things on my mind.
But what about the headache with the models on the 3D version of Gotchiverse?
Models are, I mean, those are probably the easiest things to change. It's like the wearables that adds the most bandwidth. I think we could probably create like an Aavegotchi model pretty quickly. It wouldn't be that big of a lift, I think.
Oh, right, if so.
The biggest lift is actually the wearables.
Yeah, I think it's the right time to think about H3 and base migration and all of that. So I'm sorry, guys, I'm not feeling so well, so I'm gonna go. Thank you for the call.
All right, have a good one. Thanks for joining us.
Great, thanks, guys. And yeah, please, we'd love to get some more thoughts and opinions in the increasing BRS caps.
Yes,
let's
indeed.
see where we go with that next week. Great.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Awesome.
Have a great rest of your week and weekend. Peace.
All right, bye, Coder Dan.
Later.
All right, so we do have two more topics to touch on. I'm not sure that Fifu is here. Just a quick... Oh, Fifu, you are here if you wanted to jump up and talk about the DApp new features added by the DAO.
Also, very quickly, just want to congratulate Fifu as he has stepped in as a replacement, the next in line for the DAO directors, and we're about to complete actually adding him to the multi-sig now. So just wanted to say welcome aboard.
Yes, congrats, Fifu. Oh, okay, no problem. Mic issues. Okay, still silent. Feel free to leave and come back real quick. We can quickly summarize some of the things that we'll be talking about in this section while we wait for Fifu to come back. Key points are that that would be added from this post wearable lending, batch Aavegotchi lending, lending dashboard, and BRS optimizer. Welcome back. GM, we can hear you.
Hi, Roxiano. Hi, No Futuristic. Yeah, so thanks first, No Futuristic, for the intro. And so, yes, I'm in the process of doing the KYC stuff and so on to well, it's not the, how can I say? I would have preferred Hardcore to stay longer with us and not being a director that soon, obviously. But, well, and when we decided on the previous director vote prop that in case we needed replacement because some directors were going to step down during the upcoming months, I was not thinking about someone dying, obviously. But it is what it is, and I'm now part of the directors. So yeah, I wanted to talk quickly about the features I envision as a new batch of features added to the official DApp by me and indeed by the DAO, obviously. So I created a thread about it and I'm going to post it. I'm not on my setup, so I'm a bit rusty, I'm gonna say. So the thread is here, so feel free to go there, comment, and so on. And yeah, so as I said in the intro, there are many factors that that make me decide to start this thread. The first thing is that Orium has stopped their website is down. They shut down their activity, and so we now have a situation that is kind of it's a new situation. It's the fact that basically we have some part of the protocol that exists in terms of smart contract and subgraph. They are ready to be used on a DApp. But because the only DApp using it has been shut down, basically, if you want to rent or lend your wearables, actually at smart contract level you can, but there is no UI to do it. And as it is part of the protocol, to me it should be part of the official DApp. So that was the first feature that basically I wanted to implement. To be perfectly transparent, I already discussed the matter with Coderdan last time we talked, and he told me he was okay. Well, not that he was okay. He told me that there is no plan at Pixelcraft. Actually, it's not on the roadmap to re-implement that. So they are happy if the DAO is taking the lead on this. So I'm good with that. The second feature I wanted to talk about is the batch lending. So basically, the batch lending is already it is implemented somewhere. It's implemented here on a DApp I developed years ago at a time where Gotchiverse was going to be launched, and we were supposed to harvest and channel our parcels. And there was supposed to be a lot of scholars and activities around all that. Ogik say, and I still use that, and I thank you for this. But the thing is, as I said in my thread, basically, when I checked back analytics for 2 years ago compared to now, 2 years ago I had 1,200 unique visitors every month on the DApp, which is not bad for something that I had no idea where it was going to land when I started it. And now I have like 60, I think it's even lower than the last number I checked, between 60 and 80 unique visitors a month. So basically all the features related to Alchemica and so on that are part of this DApp, it's going to get sunset at some point. There is still a few months for which the DAO funded a lot of builders like me to maintain their DApp. So obviously I'm going to play ball with that and I will keep maintaining, and I will, if there is some need, I will keep maintaining it even after that. But in the way I see things and the way I want the DApp to be ready for it in the next months or in the next year, is that we are going to have games and more players, and there is going to be more activities and people using Aavegotchis to play games. And actually, the gotchis, they are quite concentrated in terms of who is owning the gotchis. And I don't necessarily expect people to buy a Gotchi to play the game, I expect the renting market to go up. I expect there is more opportunity to lend, to borrow stuff, because people will need that to play games. And my idea will be to prepare the DApp for that situation. I'm not 100% sure it's going to arrive to happen, that this situation is something we are going to encounter. But I want to play the best case scenario. Best case scenario, the game are successful. People want to play the games. They need to borrow Gotchis. And we need to have a good UI for the big holders that have like more than 10 Gotchis. So they put their Gotchi on the borrowing market all the time, and they need a good UI to do that. I'm not saying it's necessarily going to generate a ton of revenue for those people, but what I'm saying is that actually, if you have 20 Gotchis, if you can't, you can use my UI on Verse Analytics to batch, to do a batch listing of all your Gotchis. But apart from that, and if you don't know that UI, you can do it. And the idea is that if you have 20 Gotchi and you have to sign one transaction one after the other to put your 20 Gotchi on the lending market, I would say no one is going to do it. So I think it needs to be part of the official DApp. And I think it should increase the number of Gotchi that are available for lending. And that way it will make room for people to have more people who borrow the Gotchis to play the games. So that's for those two features regarding the lending and borrowing aspect. My vision of things is that with the new version of the Battlers and all the plans that Immaterial has, and with the Gotchiverse coming to with a new version, with base, with well, everything that Pixelcraft is also putting on, I think we will have, yeah, we will have the need to have more Gotchi available for lending, and I want the DApp to be ready for that. So that's why I would like to develop those features. And I also mentioned dashboard, kind of to, how can I say? Those people that have like, yes, so everyone which has more than a few Gotchis, to help them manage how much of their Gotchis are listed, how much are actually borrowed, how much they can claim, how much they can release, and so on. So basically, they just have to go to the page, they do a few clicks, and they claim what they have to claim, they release what they have to release, and basically, it's a way better user experience for people who want to put their Gotchi on the lending market. So this is a big part of what I want to add to the DApp. I have a lot of ideas about how to do it, how to make it a better user experience for all the holders. And yeah, and I'm really, really open to feedbacks on all that things. And Pixelcraft, well, Codernan told me that basically those two things are not on their roadmap. So, and I think they are needed. So I really would like to be able to get funded and implement those two features. And the dashboard that goes with it. And the last one is a bit different. Basically, the idea that you can go to the DApp, or yeah, to the official DApp or another one, but I was thinking about the official DApp. Click on a button and basically the DApp computes for yourself your actual Gotchi configuration, meaning this Gotchi is using that wearables and so on the scale of your whole collection of Gotchis. It's not optimal, and it should be configured like that with those wearables on this Gotchi and so on. And you just have to click on a second button, and basically it's going to transfer all the wearables at once to the good Gotchis, and you are going to have a better rarity farming configuration. Is really something that I think will be useful first because I'm pretty sure if you have more than 10 Gotchi or let's say 15 top, right now you don't even have you're not even sure you are having the best rarity farming configuration on your gotchis, because there are so much possibilities and so on with the sets, that it's not even sure that you are using the best configuration, and it's very complicated to how can I say, do all the checks by yourself. And I think an algorithm will be way better than us to do that. And as I said in the thread, basically last time I wanted to play better for good, I destroyed all my Gotchi settings because I wanted a lot of mages, and I had a lot of Gotchis that there were like 1 or 2 points away from being mages. So I changed a lot of stuff. I did not back up my configuration, and then when the rarity farming season, the next rarity season came, basically I spent it took me a few hours to find back which configuration was a good one, and it was not a nice experience. And I think a lot of people, they had this experience on the previous years, and basically the idea is that I don't see what is fun in that. I think it's better if basically you have kind of a BRS solver that is going to say your best configuration is like that. You click on a button, it applies the configuration, and basically your best wearables goes on your best on the Gotchi where it has the best fit, and you have the overall maximum BRS on our collection. So yeah. Yeah, and that's all I have to say. Basically, I'm expecting feedbacks. First, I'm expecting the quorum prop to change quorum to pass, so we can talk about all those things a bit more seriously. And yeah, I don't know if there are some feedbacks, questions, people that are having ideas or whatever, but you can submit to them now or go talk on the thread, and I will be very happy to take any advice that people can have based on their own user experience with the DApp, what they think is missing regarding lending, borrowing, and all that stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I personally don't like to do all that math when trying to figure out the BRS of my gotchis, so that especially is something that's like that would be very useful. Also all the lending and all the lending stuff, and yeah, it's a really good stuff that you put together. Thumbs
Yeah,
up.
it's been on my mind because I struggled and I scratched my head around those things by myself, and I find a lot of transaction to sign and so on very cumbersome, not fun at all. And I think it's kind of it's bad for adoption, and it's particularly very annoying, and it's an issue for newcomers. And I want we're talking about base, we're talking about onboarding, we're talking about having some new user, we're talking about on-free. And I think the experience has to be more fluid for those people. I think it has to be easier to lend all your Gotchi, to borrow one Gotchi, to have the best BRS configuration all at once, and to do all those things. I think we have to step up a bit regarding the user experience of the website on all those aspects.
Yeah, gotta love that innovation to make everything easier. Thank you, and I think we'll move on unless you have any final notes.
No, that's all. That's all for me. Just if some people have some ideas, they can go to the thread and speak their mind, and I will be happy to see that.
All right, sweet. Yep. You heard the man. Go to the forum and then give your opinions and feedback. Thank you, Fifu, for your presentation. And now it's time to go
Thank
on
you,
to.
Roxiano.
Yep, of course. Now it's time to go on to the last topic for today. I'll paste it in here. It is the post that I made in the forums, the new DAO facilitator role term. And if you have opinions about this, that would be great. Basically, to do a summarization, we are on the last month of our terms as DAO facilitators. Myself, No Futuristic, Foreign, and Phase. And we made this to open we're opening the conversation for others who might be interested in joining us. And first and foremost, we want to suggest that our positions be extended until the passing of the AGIP 145, so that the quorum will be adjusted for the voting when we do decide to put out a proposal for our facilitator re-election. So we need some feedback on that. We need some more opinions, and then yeah. No future. How do you think that would be like enacted? I know that this is kind of like weird not to have a proposal for this specific subject, you know?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think we can really do anything without a proposal. It's unfortunate. So I've already kind of told the DAO directors that there is the potential of a blackout because we have basically 3 weeks left in this term, and then after that there's no real plan other than like, potentially putting up a prop and then going through the another election. What I would say is that going forward, I'm surprised we didn't do this because I did mention it like a couple months ago. Hey, don't we need to do another prop? I think that we have to have this canonized as a position within the DAO, because as part of our duties to the foundation, we're supposed to be having regular meetings and taking minutes. And these meetings and the recordings that we have for these meetings are the closest thing to that. So us having lapses is not ideal. We still have to get back to dealing with all of the foundation stuff eventually, but yeah, I don't know if there's going to be appetite from the DAO, honestly, because it does go against the precedents of like us using core props and sig props for this kind of stuff. So it's just, the reality is that there's most likely going to be a blackout here in terms of the facilitating of this meeting starting in July. It's, it just is what it is.
Yeah, maybe for the future proposal we can have it so that the terms are longer, perhaps, or maybe we make the proposal in advance before the term ends. Maybe one of those ideas would work. But yeah, I agree with Choina. It's important to have these meetings.
Yeah, like I would yeah, as long as we have the DAO, we need to have these meetings so we could just make it an ongoing thing, similar to like what we have now with the directors, where we just have regular interval elections, but that it's like a position that has to happen. Like we had Foreign come up with that organizational chart, and the facilitators were part of that because it is necessary. I think once we see the quorum post pass, ideally within the next week, then we can move forward. I don't know if we need to, I guess we have to go through a sig prop core prop again for this. I don't know if it's just do another core prop, because this is something that generally was agreed upon previously. But I think if we're making changes where we need to make it an ongoing effort, then yeah, we'll probably have to do sig prop core prop. I guess the question is, yeah, actually FaZe just dropped something in. Just to refresh, last time we made the discussion topic to see if anyone else was interested in applying for the position. No Future was the only one interested in hosting, so the vote was just to add him to the roster. We had as Cryptogotchi's original prop called for 4 members. Let's include a periodic review into the proposal that locks a date for the next vote to be run. I agree with that. I guess what the question is, like for the DAO, how do we handle a blackout here that's going to happen? Because there is going to be, at least, even if we got a proposal going 2 weeks for SIGPROP today, there's going to be at least a 1 week blackout in terms of like, the overlap of like services and end of like payable term for services.
Maybe back pay could be a thing. Like in the proposal, it's included that that the period actually starts like before the vote, perhaps. I don't know, just an idea. Obviously, I would love this position to keep going indefinitely, but he'd be fine with that, yeah. Of course we would. We are the facilitators.
Yeah, like I said, structurally we need to have this bring back Hefe as a I don't think that's gonna happen. Like
volunteer army.
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with this across the board right now in different positions in the DAO. Like Johnson was able to show us a document of who's on our records right now. Now, it's not clear if this is the old document or the new document. I had him erase it immediately because it doxed my address, which is no bueno. But like I'm still in a position where I'm listed on these documents as one of the, I guess, officers, right? And we're not clear if Hardcore is actually listed as an officer as well. Which, if he is, then we're gonna have to pony up more money to get the documents kind of reconfigured. So we need to move forward with this annual budget, and then with the discussions of compensation for the officers, because it is like we're in a point like of overtime for me, like taking like legal liability for the DAO. It's like we're months, like forget the first 2 years, but we're months into this. So it's not a tenable situation to be sitting in terms of like voluntarily taking on the entire risk of the DAO. It's just not ideal. Yeah, also with phase, continue till we figure it out. I think that's fine also, because I feel like we're going into the summer months. Mm-hmm. So these meetings will probably become shorter. Like we had 4 topics today. There's not a ton of stuff that's on the horizon. I think if we get the quorum thing passed, the next big thing other than like organizational stuff for the DAO and the foundation will be Gotchi Badler. And then I guess anything that we want to do towards like adjustments to like game mechanics or something like that for the base migration. There might be, a significant slowdown. Also, fun fact, we did see, we turned 5 years old in July. I think it was July 31st or 21st. I forget the exact day. It was 5 years ago was when we started the hangout. I had come to Dan and was like, can we host like, I was an ambassador. We didn't have many ways to make a lot of content, and I was the only real like video content creator at that time. I think me and Hefe. So it's like we need some way to make content outside of just the parties. So I remember that one because Bearded was the co-host on it. So it's been almost 5 years of these hangouts, which has been pretty awesome. Yeah, July 7th through 8th. Yeah, it's I think the first one that's on my YouTube is, I think it's like in the July 20th range. I don't know if I streamed the first one, but I think I recorded it. But yeah, it was me and Bearded co-hosting that one when we were on better terms. So that's kind of crazy. But 5 years, like holy moly. Or not wow. 5 years. It's been 4 years. Sorry, 4 years since the start of the hangout. 5 years since the start of the project.
Yeah. Crazy. Anyways, I don't know if anyone I think that's it for today. That's all the topics, unless anyone else has any final notes. we will probably be waiting for the quorum thing to pass. We will probably get on writing the new. So I guess that's the period that people have to want if they want to run for a DAO facilitator role, to jump into the forum and make yourself known, and then we'll make the proposal accordingly. I guess within 1 week, you have 1 week to show that you're interested in the role, and then we will yeah. So yeah. And don't forget to vote on that. Yeah, don't forget to vote on that quorum adjustment proposal. Very important. Very important. And I think that's a wrap. And yeah. So I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Take it easy, everybody.